the same fringe.
Oh my gosh, that couch, this couch looks like someone put a dress on it, and this is like the skirt part, and like this is the top part of the dress. Welcome back to the channel, guys. Your fellow Gen Z Brit, back again with another throwback. This time we're going all the way to the 90s to check out 1990s things found in every home. This is coming from Rate of History's channel, guys, so if you've been keeping up with me, you'll know that I'm quite fond of his channel. I've checked out quite a few videos from him now, and I'm really excited to dive into this one, guys, to see just some of the things that might shock me in this. I still wasn't born in the 90s, so I'll be very curious to see what was going on before I was born. But guys, of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you guys haven't already. Road to 60K, as you can see, the growth has been absolutely phenomenal. And guys, like as always, don't forget to smash that like button if you guys are enjoying these videos, and just help me get in that algorithm. If you guys want to support the channel, it will go a long way. But yeah, guys, look, with that being said, let's get straight into this one. Let's go.
The 1990s was a decade that was begging to be different from the previous decades. Technology was moving fast, and we were trying our best to keep up with it. Overall, we did a pretty good job doing that with some of the home decor that was in style.
Wow.
So let's break out your best cargo pants and your hypercolor shirts and have a look back at some of the items that could be found in 1990s homes.
Okay. Let's see.
The 90s was all about DIY, and for the most part it was pretty simple. Wallpaper and solid color walls were out, but texture was in. Many people in the 90s tried their hand at being artistic by sponge painting entire walls and rooms.
Okay.
This style was very forgiving, and there really wasn't a right or wrong way to do it. Some folks got a little fancier by trying to sponge paint stencils on the wall.
Okay.
No 90s home was ever complete without a little greenery. But we were busy back then, and we didn't have time to take care of real plants. This is when the fake plastic and silk plants made their way into homes everywhere. It seemed like no room was off limits.
Whoa.
But one of the most popular places.
Even up here, no way this was like, this is gotta be, actually I don't even know if this is purely an American thing, but I've never seen anything like this. Like plants, I've never gone into a house and plants, or at least fake plants, are up there like that. The fact that it seems to be a thing back then shocks me. Wow, I was not aware of that.
Places to see them was on top of cabinets in the kitchen and bathrooms. Everyone thought that they were low maintenance, but do you remember having to dust them?
Yeah, to dust
not
them.
Fun.
That's wow. Okay.
Cargo pants weren't the only beige to become all the rage in the 1990s. This color could be found on walls with the sponge painting, countertops, computers, and even couches.
Beige.
There were several different shades to pick from, but you could certainly count on seeing at least one of them in every home.
Whoa.
Couches of the era tried to get a little extra frilly with pillows that had fringe all around them. The bottom of the couches also had this same fringe.
Oh my gosh. That couch, this couch looks like it's wearing a dress. That is the way I'm conceptualizing that as a Gen Zer. This couch looks like someone put a dress on it, and this is like the skirt part, and like this is the top part of the dress. Guys, this looks so ancient to me, for lack of better words. Like, I don't know why when I look at all of these final floral designs and these like really decorative patterns and stuff, like it just reminds me of what I would expect to see in like a care home, or like when I go into my grandma's house. Like, you know, it's just so opposite to what I'm used to now, with like way more simple modernized looks that are just, you know, boring compared to this, but nonetheless what I'm used to. So to see like this with these fringes on, like, whoa, yeah, wow, that's new to me.
The bottom of the couches also had this same fringe. It would hide items underneath the couch very well, but one thing it could not hide was the dust that would accumulate on the fringe. They were practically impossible to clean, but your vacuum would always find a way to suck them up.
Wow.
Hopefully you didn't rip it, but each time it happened, it meant that you had to turn off the vacuum so you could get it out.
That's a headache.
Most of the cabinets in a home came in a light oak color, which is definitely something that looks a little dated now. The knobs and the handles on the cabinet seem to always be in that polished brass look. All of it needed to match the polished brass that you could find on the hinges, door handles, and locks throughout the rest of the house.
Wow,
if
okay.
on the rare occasion that you ever did see wallpaper in a home, then it was most likely nothing more than a border at the top of the wall. People loved them because they were a fairly easy DIY project.
That's what my auntie has in her house. So is this like so this was like a 90s, like when I see this, it just, again, I just think of ancient. Like not even in a rude way. It's just like every time, I remember when I was especially young, like I'll be going to these houses that were like for my auntie's house, my grandma's house, or an older person's house that probably was more decorative or decorated to fit a 90s aesthetic. I would see stuff like this. Now that I'm doing this video, it's kind of making a bit more sense. Wow.
Most of the appliances in the kitchen were white, but there were some black options available. This, of course, was long before the stainless steel options that we have today. However, these old appliances were some of the last ones that you could ever buy that would last for decades. That's something that doesn't seem to happen with any of the appliances in the last 15 years or so.
Yeah, what is it with appliances just not lasting long these days? Like, is that just that corporate greed? Like, are they doing it on purpose? People just don't care as much. People aren't putting as much, effort into their products these days. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I always hear stories about how appliances used to last so long, and then now they last like 10 seconds. What do you guys think about that?
It doesn't seem to happen with any of the appliances in the last 15 years or so. Cabinets weren't the only items to come in the light oak color. It could be found on all the doors and trim work throughout the house. You could certainly see end tables and coffee tables in this same color. But think about the entertainment centers that we had. The 90s saw some of the last big and heavy televisions that were out on the market. You know, the ones that would take two people to lift. We had to have something to hold those, and that's where these light oak entertainment centers came in.
Wow.
They could either be built-ins or freestanding ones, but most people had them.
No, okay. I've seen these TVs before when I was really young. Before TVs became flat. So look at this guy in this picture right here. Look at the reflection. You guys can see that, right? Sorry, I just caught that just randomly. But yeah, these TVs definitely remind me of like when I was really, really young. And then I feel like I remember my parents just getting like a flat screen TV at some point. But wow, yeah, they seem like they were very heavy. Like, and I don't think I really got to experience TVs like this, but this is looking a little bit more familiar. It's kind of reminding me of my young, like early, like before I turned 10 days,
They could either be built-ins or freestanding ones, but most people had them. Computer desks became another necessary item to have in this light oak color. We needed them to hold our big beige computer towers and bulky monitors that had smaller screens when compared to what we have today.
Right. Things are so much
By the 90s,
it's like so much more bulkier back then.
VHS player was still all the rage, and it was much cheaper than they were in the 80s. Most everyone had at least one, and people began acquiring huge libraries of VHS movies. Some people organized these in their entertainment centers, while others chose to have storage drawers or racks.
Okay.
It was always fun to show off your collection and see what others had as well.
Wow.
Borrowing movies from others was a pretty popular alternative to the video store.
Yeah.
One other essential item for the entertainment center was a nice stereo. These could have tape players in them, but the CD players were also coming on strong, and by the end of the decade, the CDs had pretty well taken over. If you did not keep your CDs in the entertainment center, then you were going to need a CD tower. CD cases were another item that could be found in...
My dad had that. Oh, that's what this book thingy was. I was wondering why I saw books that you flip them over like a photo album, but there's CDs inside. My dad literally had one of those. He's a Gen Xer, by the way, but I'm pretty sure, he probably would have upgraded like many did to some of these new technology coming in with the CDs and stuff. But whoa, I actually have held one of these in real life when I was really, really young, and I was wondering what the heck is this? But this, wow, okay. Throwback to the 90s.
Need a CD tower. CD cases were another item that could be found in many homes. These made your collection portable so that you could carry them in your car. Every home stereo system needed to have the big, tall, freestanding speakers. Back then, we loved our bass and we loved our music and movies loud. We wanted to feel like we were right there in the concert or movie theater each and every time we used them.
It's that Friends, right?
The middle of the decade became the time period when everyone started exploring the internet. This made the home computer much more popular than it had ever been before. Practically every home that had a computer had at least one AOL CD lying around. Without it, most of us were lost on trying to gain access to the World Wide Web. Some of the first sites that we ever used were AOL, Yahoo, and GeoCities.
What's AOL? I've heard it. I've heard of it before. I keep forgetting. I keep forgetting when I'm doing these videos. AOL is that like a Safari or like a Google Chrome, but for the 90s?
Some of the first sites that we ever used were AOL, Yahoo, and GeoCities.
GeoC.
In the 1990s, roller skating got a little upgrade. Traditional roller skates were less desired when the rollerblades became super popular.
Rollerblades.
Kids and adults alike were soon skating everywhere. These skates could be found in many homes throughout the decade.
Crazy.
Track lighting was a feature that became super popular in the 1980s, but it did carry over into the 90s. But another style of lighting soon took over. Recessed lighting made its way into many homes. Kitchens were the most popular place to see this, but it eventually migrated into other rooms.
Wow.
Do you remember the eyeball recessed lights? They could be adjusted so that the light would shine however you wanted. Speaking of lights, just about everyone had one of these halogen floor lamps that would shine up on the ceiling. They were super bright and they would heat up so hot that you couldn't even touch the upper part of it. Many homes that were built during the decade had arched windows. Everyone thought that they were great until it was time to put curtains or blinds up. Then it was not only a challenge, but an added expense. Another feature that could be found in some 90s homes were the faux columns. Traditionally, these were on the outside of homes, but for some reason, some people wanted the outside to come inside.
Wow. Whoa, no way some of you guys actually had that inside of your house. You guys let me know if any of you guys have had that inside of your house. Like, that just looks annoying to me. Like, isn't that just not in the way?
To come inside.
Whoa.
Telephones have been popular in most homes for about 100 years. Prior to the 1990s, they were tethered to the wall by a cord. But by this time, technology had evolved and it gave us wireless phones. We no longer had to worry about those annoying long cords that would mysteriously get tangled. However, these new cordless phones were not without worries. The earlier models had a metal extendable antenna that could break off easily.
Whoa, the antenna.
And now we had to worry about keeping the batteries charged. Before the 90s, nobody ever asked, "Have you seen the phone?" Despite all the headaches, these phones provided a freedom that we had never experienced before.
That's facts. You know, that's actually facts, because, you know, this was only a recent advent where the phones are no longer attached to the wall. Wow. People asking about where's the phone now. That's new. Yeah, that makes sense.
Despite all the headaches, these phones provided a freedom that we had never experienced before. We could wander all over the house while being on the phone, and in some instances even go outside. They were a great transition to the Nokia cell phones that became increasingly popular by the end of the decade. One of the decorations that could be found in many homes was a cherub. They came in the form of pictures on the wall and little statues that would sit on the shelves or mantle. Of course, no cherub was ever complete unless they had the fake ivy behind it.
Fake ivy.
Gaming consoles were now in most homes, and especially so if there were any kids. The Super Nintendo came out in 1990, but soon other consoles came out as well. Three of the biggest gaming systems were the PlayStation and Sega Saturn, which were released in '94, and the Nintendo 64 came out in '96. These systems took gaming to a whole other level, and many kids started spending more time indoors by the end of the decade.
Wow.
Another decoration that you might see in the 90s.
Like, this is just like where the transition into Gen Z world just starts to come alive, because again, I still wasn't born at this point, but I'm starting to recognize some things. Like, my first console was a PlayStation 2. I wasn't really as aware of consoles before that, at least when I was younger.
Another decoration that you might see in the 90s was the chia pet. They were popping up everywhere in stores and on television.
Chia pet.
Many people seem to get them as novelty gifts, but they were sort of a craze. Another item that you may have seen was the gel candle. It was super cool to be able to see through the candle, and oftentimes they had little seashells or something else inside the gel.
That does look cool.
Many people used them as decorations and never really lit them. If you ever tried to clean the dust off the top, then you quickly realized that that wasn't going to happen. So when these candles went in the trash, people chose not to buy another one.
Wow.
The 1990s was full of changes, but we weren't afraid to try something new. Sponge painting became the go-to for interior design, but the sound of the dial-up internet helped us to move towards the future. What were some of the items and things that you remember seeing in 1990s homes?
Wow, guys, that seems to be the end of the video, guys. Like, I would love to know if any of you guys can relate to this, if you can resonate, if this resonates with you. Like, a bunch of this stuff is stuff that I was kind of familiar with when I was younger. I feel like when we get into the 1990s, that's when I'm starting to unlock really old school childhood memories when I was like 4 or 5 that I barely remember. And then now I'm like, oh wait, I feel like I remember something along those lines. But now seeing it in a different light, it's making a bit more sense now. So this is actually kind of really cool for me to see. And I'm sure it would have been for a lot of you guys. So yeah, look, if you made this point, as always, guys, don't forget to smash that like button and comment down a green heart so I know who my runs are, who made this point in the video. You guys are the realest of the all. Or #flexer. Yeah, this one was a really interesting video, and if you guys want to see me check out some more of these throwbacks to the past, like what to expect in like 80s homes, 70s homes, then I've got a playlist at the end of the video that you can check out. But guys, as always, I'm your boy JayFlex, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.